Hey, we're live. This is Lynn Serrano, and here I got my Sheryl Isenhour. We'll be right back after this. Welcome to the Lynn and Sheryl Show. I'm Lynn Serrano, and you are
I am Sheryl Isenhour every day.
every day and any day of the week. Just never mind. I didn't know where I was going with that. Welcome everybody to watching us here. We're talking today about validation. Do you need it? And we were talking about different other topics before we started here. So, oh, there's one of our fans, Bob Ward. Thanks for being here. So good to see you. So we usually talk the day before and we say, what do we want to banter about? And today we wanted to banter about validation and do you need it? And basically, it's the either people pleasing or the whole. I gotta shut that messenger off. Um, or the whole. Do you really do things for the sake of other people, or just to look right, or just to have the imposter syndrome? Uh, those were some of the things I was thinking of. And then Sheryl, go ahead.
My thing is everybody needing a pat on the back. I don't mind giving them. I hate people that expect them, if that makes sense at all. I think everybody needs them once in a while. And I'm not just using the younger generation right now. Yes, the younger generation is very high on the pat on the back thing. And it's always good to compliment somebody, but when it's forced to you have to do it because that's how they feel, is it real? Or are you just saying it because you know they've got to hear it? And that's where I wanted to go with it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess when we're younger, we're all wanting to have like the whole acceptance or, you know, that kind of thing. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for being here. Um, and so I think that the whole thing of doing it just to do it for somebody else and not, I mean, isn't it hard to just keep track of who you are, let alone add a different persona? I'm not.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, Lynn, people say things, a lot of name dropping, so people think they're important because so they'll get validated. People just they do things just to draw that comment back from you. Maybe I'm different from other people. I hope people respect me. Don't get me wrong. But if you don't like me, get over it. I will not be any better next week than I am today. I don't grow on you. So if you want to give me a compliment, shoot at it. And thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that. That was a nice compliment. And I do appreciate compliments. But the thing about it is, I don't have to have them to be a better person. You need to think of yourself first.
Right. And for the podcast's sake, Debbie Bettendorf says, it is always sad to me when people do things or try and look a certain way just for validation from others. Yeah. And, it's just sad because most people that do that don't even hear what they're saying. They're not acting, don't do as I say or not as I do, but just as I say. And that's sad. But I guess in time, I think Bob Donnell said it best last night in our podcast is that ask better questions. And asking better questions, you can filter out, people for who they are. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to learn how to ask better questions in public forums just to validate what I assume to be what I see. And I think that's the other thing is we forget people do show us who they are. And when they say one thing and they do another and contradict themselves, just pay attention to what people are saying and they'll let you know who they are without a doubt.
Yeah. And that's where it's called listening, which is something a lot of people don't do anymore. They hear, but they don't listen.
Yeah.
Just people will tell on themselves. You'll tell on yourself. That's why you need to be a decent person. You need to portray. I wish everybody would just portray who they were. I mean, I'm an open book. Again, you don't like me, the chapters don't change a lot. But the thing about it is looking at somebody when they're really fake and they're trying to make people like them. And that's what I meant, when we're talking about the validation and feeling inferior and having to have you to tell them it's okay. You ought to know if things are okay or not. Maybe it's the person I am and everybody's not like that, but you should know what your own soul's like, what your own persona is. I mean, I would dress like this. I would have put exactly the same thing on yesterday if I hadn't been sitting in front of this camera today. I've done it. I don't dress for the camera as a rule. Um, I dress in certain things just out of comedy to make my butt look smaller. But that's for me. That's not for you.
Right.
And so, yeah, the compliments are super. And I wear purple a lot, Debbie, and I do it just because I like it. But I wish people were more real. I really
Yeah.
do.
And that's what I love is you and I are real with each other, and that's what I love. But the thing is that the only validation you should really look at is within yourself. What do you validate within yourself? What do you accept and what do you don't accept? And if you don't accept it, you need to change it. And even with my health issues, I not I have to accept where I am, but I'm mindful of where I am, and it's not where I want to be. But you know what? It's still where I need to be, and it's a humbling experience, and I'm going to ride with it, and so be it. But I don't need validation from anyone else for it. At least I know, and like we're all ignorant in something, and we're ignorant sometimes thinking that we know things. And I love that about NLP. And what I'm learning is that stop being a mind reader and thinking what you think in anyone. Just watch them, observe them, and you might pick out who they are without your personal prejudice bias of what you think they are. And I think that's what's getting me right now, Sheryl, is I'm truly not putting my opinions or reading anything. I'm just literally looking at it, people, and seeing what they're doing and going, they didn't hear 10 minutes ago the great things they said, and then they went ahead and counterproductive to what they were saying a minute ago. It's like, did you not just hear what you said? So I'm just learning to really listen to people and really see that if they talking very polished, they're polished for a moment and they get comfortable, just like when I get comfortable, my accent comes out. It's that kind of thing. So I find it very interesting that the more I listen and I pay attention to body, image, and just, their body style and what their language and what they're doing and saying, I'm realizing, wow, I never really. But then you can see that your gut feelings and what you perceived was correct, but you don't ever want to go by what you're assuming right away. Give it a chance to be open, and you can see many things when you just have open eyes.
Well, I've been lucky or dangerous enough
I think both.
to be a people watcher all my life. I was the kid that wanted to go to the fair and sit on the bench and watch people instead of riding rides. People amaze me. And then when I got into disc assessments, when I really understood what I was seeing in print, is that a good way to put it?
Right.
Then I really became bad because I would sit and analyze people in the grocery store or at a restaurant. It's like, oh, she's a D, oh, he's an I. But it gave me, once I got into that very deep, it gave me a lot of the reasonings why people were the way they were and where the differences lie. I always knew people were different. I just didn't really understand why. And so that's been a huge thing for me since I've started doing that. It's just you see it quicker. Is that a good
Right.
way to put it?
Yeah, and I think validating within yourself the things you see that other people are doing. I think it's the, let's check ourselves at the gate and the door. What are we going to allow to come in and be a part of us, and what things are not aligned with us that don't resonate when we see other people, what it basically means is that you may not like that, but that's a part of you. So you may want to like find some resolve or forgiveness or forget it, or just deal with it, and just don't, change those things that you don't like that you see, or shift to what do you do like, so that the things that do annoy you are not as prevalent as the things that you do enjoy from others. That's how I cope.
Just like a plane. Put your mask on first.
Yeah.
Air mask. And
Yep.
fix yourself. Quit trying to fix the world until you've got yourself.
And the only thing we can control is ourselves. The only thing we can control are the thoughts we have, and the things we do, and the things, how we look at things that are already past. Because it's past, it's old news.
And I
I
know
mean,
a few people, I'm not sure they can control themselves. So, truthfully,
Debbie says, "Can I get an amen?"
hey,
Amen, sis. I
oh,
love it.
you
I
know,
love it.
it's everybody has always got to be in somebody else's business. Just get out of it.
Yeah, yeah. Just I think point of reference in somebody else's business reminds you better mind my own, because I could just have it just as bad as that person. So
I mean, we're all in a different place, okay? Thank goodness. I mean, the world doesn't need another me or you, okay? And so we're in our own skin, we're in our own mind. Why? I want to be your friend because you're Lynn and what you bring out in me. And that's the people that I graduate to, is when they're bringing something out in me that I like seeing.
yeah,
But when you're with somebody that brings the dark side out in you, just get away. I mean, it's
yeah,
not worth it. And the older you get, you're going to realize, Lynn, I refuse to let somebody else give me a heart attack by stressing me out. Okay. So
amen.
if I'm going to have one, it's my own fault.
Can I get an amen? I repurposed that content right there.
But everybody just needs to grow up and get on their big girl panties or big boy boxers. I don't care what you're putting on, but
Or
learn
if
to
you're not
live
putting it
within
on, you.
yourself or go naked. I don't care. That's your preference too. Neck is just not pretty. But anyway, with that being said, and especially when you're this small, skinny woman that I got going on here. But it's I am what I am, and I'm what I am because of what I've done and what I believe in. And if someone's got something that can alter the way I feel in a good way, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Debbie says she's going to steal the big boy boxers.
Well, Debbie, they don't realize that the big girl panties goes with everybody.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just decided if they heard big boy boxers, they might realize it's not just women that do this.
Yeah, exactly. And so, anything you want to say in closing?
Back to put your big girl and boy britches on and let's go.
All right. And validation should only come validation of what you accept in your life and what you're going to allow. And you don't need anybody else's opinion to shift your opinion about yourself. All that matters, that's none of your business what they're thinking about you. It really isn't. They want to share, that's nice and that's great, but don't go back on stage to for an encore just because you're it's not going to be authentic. It's not going to be real. Just keep being real, keep being you, and your tribe will find you and they'll get to know who you are, and that's all that matters. And I can't wait till around August because I want to come and see my Sheryl. So,
Look
and
forward.
that's, yeah, me too. So you guys have a great, happy hump day to you. And we will see you guys next Wednesday, God willing. So have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me